Look.
All right.
All right.
Don't
I
worry.
multitask. I have a 2-year-old.
We're here to help.
I take my time.
All 6 of us. No, we're going live. Sorry.
We've started. It's too late.
All right. Well, not our smoothest open, but this happens from time to time. Anyways, coming back with the podcast, it is power rank time for the preseason. So you've got the Vikings, the Eagles, the Giants, the Lions, the Broncos, the Bengals, and boom, the Texans. Getting ready to go through some power ranks that folks have done. I think each of us have a column in there with a couple of other owners who have chipped in as well. Thank you very much for taking the time. We'll just kind of go tier by tier and see if there's anything that people disagree with. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we start at the top or on the bottom?
Oh, let's start at the bottom.
Yeah.
All right. So, not your year. Aggregate has the Cardinals, Texans, Bears, Titans, Eagles, Saints, Lions, and Pats. Any of those that you think either belong on the fence or everyone in the right spot there?
Where's the Vikings on that? After this massive deal they just
They'll be there in 2 weeks. This is as it is right now.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, Bill, when we get to trades and teams that have moved up the rankings.
I'd like to look at our pre-draft rankings for the Cardinals just to see how far they've fallen. Cardinals. He was a potential playoff team pre-draft.
Yep. And now what is
that's a rivalry there. I just like to look at the rankings to see how bad he's had it so far. The string of luck he's had since the draft has completely taken his team to ruin. It entertains me.
I mean, there was no luck aspect to it. Like he just started breaking things down for an unknown reason.
Because 25 picks are cool.
no.
All right, let's see. I agree with Bears. Texans, I feel like you could probably talk me into being on the fence. Enough things in there starting to come together.
The only thing that I have going for me really is all my potential running backs who could possibly hit at some point in the season.
Hope.
I mean, it's also, the South is like the flattest division. Like
it is, yeah.
A lot of rebuilding going on, but it's also quite flat right now. So,
do you have enough legitimate starters to fill a starting lineup? Like legitimate starters, not just like people?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
My wide receiver 3 is a little in contention, but
Most people.
in tight end.
Tight end will be rough. Yes.
Yeah, you have your safety.
He does in fact have players at those positions.
Yeah. Yeah.
I won 4 games last year, not even trying. So.
Yep.
You'll definitely win more than 4 this year.
Yeah.
So Texans did sneak into my on the fence.
He's on
just
my
because
of
the
well.
division he's in.
Yeah, mine too. I do not have him in this group myself.
Thanks, guys.
I do think with a couple of trades of your future picks, you could fill out some of the depth issues here if you were inclined, and likely have the strongest team in your division.
Very well could. It's been in discussion, but
yeah, I think when when you're a few games in and you have like a couple of wins on everybody, then that's when you
make the move. Yeah,
take that type of a step. But I definitely agree. You have the inside track to be that guy this year in that division.
Yeah, I still really like the Jags though. I just like how that team's lined up for this year, especially in the first half of the season. Looking at the schedule,
Yeah. I mean, Jags is an interesting team, but I think it's a really bad defense, is it not?
And then looking at comparisons, I actually had Steelers down here, not because I think his team is bad, but because of everyone else in his division.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, that is fair. Like, realistically, he's got no path to the playoffs unless 3 of our other teams die in that division.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is
He
like
only needs 2 of them to die.
What?
To make the
Yeah.
playoffs, he only needs 2 of them to suck.
Well, he needs 2 of them to die and his team to do well and get a
Yeah.
wild card. Like, it's pretty low odds.
I definitely feel for Steelers for being in, such a hard division. He's a good owner. He's assembled some pretty decent looking teams in the past. But yeah, unfortunately, that's only a reflection of how good his division is more than anything.
hey, I've said it. If he wants to switch teams, as long as we take our rosters, I'll switch divisions with him.
I almost want to see that happen now.
Let's go, Chris. 2
Bill,
games.
let it go. Just let the pride go, man.
Every single team in the AFC North goes 500 against each other.
God bless. All right. Any other thoughts on the not your year tier?
I thought I was a little bit better than not my year, but go on.
What?
I mean, you keep buying points, so you might be.
Wait, in terms of, did you think you, instead of say a 1 to 5 scale, you should be a 6 or a 4?
No, I was just joking. Yeah,
Fair enough.
I feel like you'd be insulted if you were on the fence.
I would. I did something wrong. I assembled the wrong team.
Just wanted to shout out the Seahawks and the 49ers for ascending the not your year tier from previous rankings.
Yep, level enough. But here we are: Seahawks and Raiders on the fence. Surprised to see Raiders here. Who had him on the lower side?
I did.
I did. Just
There are a
doesn't
few
make
teams
a
that had
whole,
him maybe not next year too.
it just doesn't make a whole lot of moves. So I see him kind of just being the worst team due to stagnation.
He's like the Steelers. He's the fourth team in his division.
Let's go look at that.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think his team is stronger than consensus seems to be here.
Yeah, I had him as a potential playoff team because, again, I think Chargers taking a step back in that division to try and build for a little bit more of the future and rebuild some capital. So no, I thought it's a little bit more open, but I understand it. And then Seahawks moving up to on the fence. Obviously, we're doing this live. Was this primarily because of the deal that just happened, or was it on the fence for you guys before that?
He was on the fence for me before that, mainly because of the division and the assets he has. That I think he could make a couple moves, and he might have just started that trend and vie for the division title there.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. The trade that just happened, I don't think did anything to necessarily change his standing. Maybe get a little bit better, but I don't think it was enough to really warrant changing a tier or anything like that.
Yep. So again, lots of reasons to be on the fence. Okay, so that is a total of 10 teams that are either not your year or on the fence. That means we have 22 contenders, fringe contenders, and potential playoff teams. So 22 vying for 14 spots. That seems fun.
Some good napkin math there, Mike.
Hopefully, we'll have some healthy playoff races this year.
Yep. So the potential playoff teams: Dolphins, Jags, Cowboys, Vikings, Rams, Jets, Commanders, Chargers, Niners, Bills, Steelers, and Colts.
Colts don't belong there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can agree with
All right, and Blaine.
Just looking at the division, again, if you're putting me into a conversation of me potentially getting in the inside track, I don't see, unless Rashawn Johnson really becomes a number one before midseason, I don't think that team has enough. It's a very, very young team.
Yep. All right. Any other surprises in the team?
So I disagree somewhat. He's got good QB. He's going to have running back points between Herbert and Johnson on the Bears. He's going to have some points between Pickens, Dell, Campbell, I guess, for wide receiver 3.
Yep.
He's got Laporta starting tight end. Like, his offense isn't great, but it's not bottom dweller team. And the defense is okay. The defense is okay. I think they belong in here. I think they could sneak it away from the Jaguars in the division.
Yeah, I think it's exclusively just due to the division strength or lack thereof. But I think he just needs to build some depth, and it's kind of been his problem the last, honestly, since he took over. He's got some high-end pieces, but kind of sacrifices on the depth side.
There's not a single guy on offense that I wouldn't want, but with that said, more depth is needed, and I don't know. I'd probably want one more big name on offense, but it's not an awful team.
And his problem is he doesn't have a lot of mechanisms to build that depth. He's got no picks left.
Well, his last trade did attempt that, right? Breaking Herbert down into multiple pieces to what he has now. So I think technically, I believe he's more competitive now, probably this year and probably next, based on that deal taking place, which is good if he doesn't own his future firsts on there.
Yep.
Yeah, you could argue breaking Pickens down would be the next step if he can fill out the rest of his depth, or at least add some more depth there and still get a decent wide receiver.
I'm sure there's somebody that would go after him, but I'd be interested to see what he could do, what he could get as far as a 2 or 3 players for a George Pickens, while also receiving a productive wide receiver back.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't know what the level of player is, so more curious. I'm saying that out of curiosity than anything.
Yeah, the issue is he doesn't want just picks and future points, right? He has to remain somewhat competitive this year while he doesn't own his first
pieces. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I think he belongs in this tier. And also, since I'm the only one with the camera on, my opinion matters more than the rest of you. I'm putting a face to my
That's a very good point.
All right, fine. You know what? I'll throw my camera on to you. Shame me into it.
There we go, Mike.
I figured you guys didn't want to watch me shovel Chinese food into my face while I was trying to grab a late dinner.
We'll probably get more viewers.
Early.
All right, I'll join this.
So it looks like in terms of the flat divisions that are pulling stuff in, so it's the AFC South, the NFC West, and maybe the AFC East that just are flat here with, I think, 3 teams in the tier. So who are your guys' picks for the NFC East, the NFC West, and the AFC South for these very controversial divisions?
I mean, the East is Giants, pretty clearly.
Is it?
I mean, unless his running back die and get replaced.
Until Trevor Lawrence becomes like the number one scoring quarterback, and Cowboys just crushes everybody in that division.
Which he very well could be.
Yes.
No, there's not
Yeah,
there's
Cam
not
Akers.
even a sliver of possibility of that happening. I was just being an
He's
ass.
relying on Cam Akers, which kills all hope.
I think T-Law wins the MVP this year.
I think that's a relatively decent bet. Like,
I
he
already
could-
put,
he
I
could
put
take
money on
it.
it already.
Ooh.
You guys are sleeping on Jordan Love.
Our shit needs to be timed out for 5 minutes.
Needs to take the next few plays off here. All right. So we're saying the Giants and the NFC East. Got it. I mean the AFC East.
I mean, the AFC East is the Dolphins.
AFC East.
I mean, it's the Dolphins or the Jets.
I don't know how this happened, but my Sims have the Bills as the sole playoff team.
Whoa!
Bills.
So I'm
The Bills.
not sure about that.
Woo!
Okay,
You
so
can't
Dak,
trust Nick's math anymore.
Dylan,
We have been mathed hard.
Like I said, this was still running when I joined this, so I've not had any chance to look at any of this.
Yeah, but it's 50 Sims in. It needs to know something.
Well, I mean, I didn't check anything to make sure nothing broke.
It knows Tyler Algier is a beast, and he's going to run for 1,000 yards as the third string running back.
So Bills only has 34 players on his squad right now. There's no way. Nope,
No,
your sim is wrong.
I believe it.
The lack of players has thrown it off.
it's not a bad squad though. If you really look into it,
It's not. This actually gets interesting because I do like the Jets team. I remember a few pods ago we talked about like the wide receiver room on the Jets. Like it's a very fun squad to own for this year.
I think
and
his
I haven't.
RB room is.
He has no running backs.
Yeah.
Well, you know, things can't be perfect in the world. The wide receiver room is fun. He can address running back later.
He has 2 starting quarterbacks. He has no starting running backs. Yeah, but his wide receivers are really fun.
He's got some pieces on defense. I mean, I agree. I think he's a strong team.
That'd be a fun one to like. I would. That's the type of team that I can root for them winning that division. Like that would just be fun
I think he's a year away, realistically.
for sure.
He should trade Garoppolo for anyone that could buy him this year. And he should play for next year and build up. Like he could profit probably at the trade deadline immensely, depending on how the season unfolds.
I think you're just afraid to see him in the playoffs with 2 QBs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 QBs against no QBs.
I think last year proved QB is not necessary.
It's a very disposable position.
We are
Absolutely.
the Ritter and Howell arguments.
I agree. QB is very disposable.
Oh, we saw that, Mike. We're aware of your feelings.
Someone with a $40 million QB, I disagree.
Yeah, we should just cut the position completely. Give everybody the cap savings.
Switch it to coach.
Make a team QB.
Make it 0-1. Just teams can run Wildcat. They don't need a QB in this league.
Okay, so
Excellent.
so what are we saying for the AFC? We're saying what? Dolphins.
It's gotta be
I
Dolphins.
think I would say Jets over Dolphins.
It's the Jets, baby.
What was it? I
Ooh.
was trying to figure out.
I got Dolphins.
Dolphins also.
The Dolphins wide receiver room is meh.
Jalen.
Jalen and
Okay.
Saquon.
We just said QB didn't matter.
They're expendable.
Matters.
Okay.
Yeah, but
so-
when they put up running back stats too, they matter.
Okay, he's got serious issues at defensive end as well. The
Oh, nobody said he was going to win the title.
Yeah.
Just division.
yeah, but whew.
I mean,
I-
his tight end room is a lot of names and not a lot of fantasy points.
That
They've
sounds
got
like a
names.
lot of tight end rooms.
Got names.
2/5 of his tight end room isn't currently on a team. We could say it that way.
That's not
He
important.
does technically have 2 starting defensive ends. Just 2.
I don't
though.
know. I might change my vote to Jets. I don't like the look of the Dolphins the more I stare at
Yeah,
it.
I think Jets is deeper, and the Jets' only hole, in my opinion, is the trying to find some running back points.
So we don't think it's Bills?
I've got the Bills open
No, I
as
don't.
well.
Oh man, his defensive ends are terrible too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
All right.
and his wide receiver 2, he's got Judy and Bateman, who's now like wide receiver option like 4 for.
I think I'm going Bills.
This is one we need to remember because this division is a lot more fun than I expected when you threw the question out, Mike.
I believe you guys, but if it's the Bills, I'm going to be really happy.
Okay, honestly, like if we take a look at the Bills team, he's got 2 good running back, or 1 really good running back, 1 good one.
He has the
and
stack too of Dak and Pollard.
Yep.
That's
I don't think. Oh man.
They're gonna eat away at each other.
no,
I mean,
not
he's got a
no,
deep
not on
RB.
best ball.
AJ Dillon,
No,
Algier, and Pollard is pretty solid.
Yeah.
If
Judy will be
Saquon ever goes
good.
down, he's got Eric Gray.
Yeah, that's like
That'll
the
hurt Dolphins.
it's like the
fourth
watered down
string.
version of Falcons.
Higbee is going to see
running backs.
110 targets.
I was about to say this is the Bud Light version of the AFC North. You know. He's actually got 2. Okay, back to Eric's team, the Bills. He's got 2 good tight ends as well.
Mhm.
He's got a good defensive tackle. He's got a defensive end. His linebacking group is solid. He's got TJ Watt with him. Okay, linebackers are I'm going Bills. I've completely went from Dolphins to Jets to Bills. I'm on board the simulation.
I think.
Bandwagon.
I mean,
That's why I'm here with the simulation. So you guys probably wouldn't even talked about the Bills if it wasn't on the simulation. So
Math always
I love
wins.
it. Chris is on board. He was on board all 3 bandwagons in the course of 5 minutes. But he's in. He's on board.
I'm in.
He's ready to go. Which direction, God only knows.
I still think I'm leaning Jets.
All right, let's talk about the AFC South then.
I'm making the move right now.
The
Bills
NFC
are out.
You said AFC South.
AFC
AFC South. We've got the Jags. We've got
Oh,
It's
the
the Jags.
It's only
Colts,
Jags
we've
and
got
Texans in that division,
empty
right?
Texans in there, but
Colts.
And the Colts.
and the Colts.
I stand by what I said.
I mean, unless Jacobs actually does miss time, it's the Jags.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Titans is just over there accumulating draft picks.
Yeah.
Well, I am curious, Nick. What did the simulations say?
I think what you guys were just saying, Jaguars, but they're on defense, so not a lot, not very far ahead.
So are Colts. One spot.
Oh, yeah,
behind if
yeah,
your
one
sim
spot.
actually ranked them.
Yeah, no, I did it in the order of the Sims. So, oh wow, actually,
That can't
Jaguars
be right.
average
I think
more
it's
points.
6 in the
like-
sim.
Yep.
Well,
The Jaguars average 2 more points per sim, but average slightly high behind in ranking on average. Actually,
Is that
Which
strength of
doesn't-
schedule? Does that take
No,
into
no,
account? Okay.
no strength schedule in mine. Plus, my philosophy anyway is just I'd rather put who's stronger in the power rankings, which
Okay.
is why I have the Steelers in playoff teams, even though that's probably not going to happen because of the division.
Wouldn't
Yep.
mind seeing it.
Is it even possible?
Yes.
How bad does the rest of the AFC have to be to get all the wild card spots come from one division?
It has to be 3 divisions of the AFC East. So we got one of 3.
East or South?
This is kind of 2 or 3.
Both.
You
yeah,
guys
sure.
play each
A little
other?
combination of both.
Yeah.
It does have the Steelers as the number 6 AFC team,
Dear God.
but the Bills are number 7. So
Jeez. Oh man.
one other, sorry, just changing the subject a bit, but one other big change because they're in this tier is does not like the Commanders. I think some of it could be the recent trade, and he mentioned he's going to probably go and buy back in some points, but it has them in the 4th tier, and it actually had them in the 4th tier last time we did it too, before that trade.
Interesting.
Take a look at that real quick.
All right, so let's talk fringe contenders. Chiefs, Packers, Browns, Ravens, Falcons, Broncos, Panthers.
I did not have Panthers in that
I
group.
didn't have Panthers there either. I think that happened because of the Vikings being flipped for a couple of us. Like I
Yes.
I put Panthers in instead of Vikings after that trade.
Yeah, I did the same.
Mhm.
So
I think he's the
It's-
third best team in his division.
it's a false
Reason.
report.
Yeah, if those running backs stay healthy, like come back healthy and stay healthy, it's going to be a really good team. But
And for this
be
year,
honest.
his wide receiver room, I think, is also pretty good.
Until Kyle Phillips went down.
Yeah.
Now he's in trouble. So I'm actually interested. Who put Chiefs as a fringe contender? I feel that's low.
I don't have them as a contender.
I have him
Really?
a fringe contender.
Same. I have him listed as playoff team.
Yep, same.
We talked about it before, but that team's going to make the playoffs. But I don't think that there aren't many players on that team that are going to be scoring 20 points a game.
All right. And then-
Lockett just saw a boost with Jigma being out.
And then Panthers. No, sorry, not Panthers. Packers as a fringe contender is a surprise too, it seems.
Yeah, that was surprising to me.
His defense is a little light.
Everybody on that team's old.
It's their last hurrah.
These aren't dynasty rankings. This is for this year.
Yes.
He should be. I think he should be in the contender bracket.
I would agree.
I agree. I had him and Chiefs in my top 4.
I've got him as the last. I've got 5 teams in my contender, and he's the 5th one. He's still in there.
He
I
probably
think
has the best running back group.
Nope.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's still Falcons.
All right. So Chris, as a AFC North member, you've got the Browns and Ravens here as fringe contenders. Which one worries you more?
Ravens. Ravens for sure.
Ravens is ridiculous.
So So funny aside, when him and I pulled off the in division trade for me to get Daniel Jones, like I was like, score. I've dumped the Titans QBs on him, weakened him. Sure, I paid some future value and Gainwell from it, but I'm like, for this year, I've got it. And then he starts messaging me on some ideas when he was talking to other people on trades. he's like, this one came through. I'm like, that feels like a lot. I'm like, what if you just ask for Tyreek and see what receiver he wants back? And then sure enough, a couple hours later, I've got a trade to process. I'm like, God dang it. I should not have been talking to him, because now I probably overpaid a bit with my deal with him. He probably overpaid a bit with his deal, but both of our teams were made a lot stronger because of it. And once again, it's going to be slugfest in the AFC North.
Not until he locks down Mike White.
Yeah, he scares me a lot more than Browns. Browns still has a solid team, but I think it's myself and Ravens. Browns just below, and then Steelers, unfortunately, once again, strong team, but in the wrong division. Yeah.
Ravens needs a defensive end.
Yeah, those can be acquired mid-season as well. I know a trade deadline last year we had some very cheap defensive ends moving around. Older vets that did not take much to acquire.
All right. And then our 3 contenders listed here: Giants, Bucks, and Bengals. Yeah, I don't know. I feel maybe I could see if of the 3 contenders, Bengals maybe be the one fringe who's overranked here, but otherwise this feels right.
I know
Sure.
Chris probably disagrees there, but
I'll let other people talk that don't own one of the said teams in the contender bracket.
No, I think that Bengals has probably the best shot in the AFC, and I think Giants has the best shot in the NFC. But at the same time, like, how often does the best team actually get there? Like, the Bills made it out of nowhere a couple years ago.
Yeah, so confirm. Dolphins Rams Super Bowl.
Yes.
yeah, it's a depth game once you hit the playoffs. That, or do you have Zadarius Smith, right, Chris?
Yep, that is true. So the only thing I will say is, Brandon, with your team, is with recent news, the running back room tends to be trending the wrong way. But again, that could just be preseason news on
It is preseason news.
your top guys.
Yeah, Najee is still their RB1.
Is he?
I have a vested interest in saying otherwise. And we got the Steelers expert on the pod at the moment.
Steelers expert, yeah.
I mean, this is about to be. I think this is about to be the first Steelers season that there is not a true workhorse since Willie Parker and Jerome Bettis, and that's crazy.
What are you even saying right now?
I think that Najee is not the workhorse anymore. I think it's going to be a split with him and Warren.
Like, what kind of split? What are we talking?
Warren
I
will
can
be
see
on third down.
60-40?
I can see 70-30 or even 60-40. It just depends. Like, if Matt Canada actually wants to get interesting or not, which, good luck with that, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. This is weird to see them have a committee, and I think it's about to actually happen.
Can Jalen Warren block, though? I think that's what's going to keep him on the field or off the field.
Does he need to block when he's that fucking fast?
He actually can block quite well. I watched film from last year when he was in. And
Yeah, he's just a little dude. I mean,
Not that little.
It's not that little.
I said he's a little dude, not that he was little. Like Austin Eckler.
That's that hard hitting analysis you come to this show for, everybody.
Like,
Wow.
Like Austin Eckler's a little dude, but he's still jacked as fucking hell.
Yeah.
All right.
Just to add some calm here, Matt Canada said today that Najee is undoubtedly their RB1.
Cool. And Matt Canada also said he was a good offensive coordinator.
Well, he is currently an offensive coordinator at the very
He's not a
least.
good one.
Okay, let's stop reporting these fluff pieces, please.
No, like I said, Najee's still going to get his run, of course. They do very different things, but it's just concerning that this might actually be a committee for the first time in a long, long time.
Yeah, I'm not going to be
All right.
concerned. I have 5 RBs. I'm fine. I'm sure one of them will get a touchdown each week. That's all I really need.
All right.
I have like 9. Okay, I can see the same thing.
Okay.
All right, let's get the trades. We got 10 that have happened since the last time we talked. We'll start with the Chiefs and Buccaneers. Chiefs giving up Cam Taylor, Britt, and Kareem Jackson for Marshawn Lattimore, Adrian Phillips, and a future 4th. Look, when Chiefs sends these trades out, I think everyone gets one, and you kind of breathe a sigh of relief when some of these people start getting accepted because you'll stop seeing them in your offers. So I want to, salute you. Thank you, Buccaneers, for flying on the sword and taking these guys off the street.
Hear, hear.
Yeah.
9, we got some legit stuff going on here. Ravens giving up Levis, Tannehill, and Christian Kirk, along with their 25 first, the Broncos 25 first, and the Bengals 25 first to get Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, and Cole Kmet. So upgrading his receiver. I'd say definitely upgrading the quarterback for the price of 325 first. So I don't know, Chris. You're seeing your pride and joy, Will Levis, getting moved again. How does this make you feel?
I don't know how I feel about it. I like the competition. That's about all I can say. It's the fact that he turned around so quickly and made the move was a little surprising. In discussion, he figured he'd just hang on to that and then wait till next year and see how the QB situation played out in the Titans room. I'm almost wondering if Commanders came to him originally with an offer. I don't know how those offers opened up, but yeah, originally I thought he was going to hold throughout the year before he made a move, but probably an overpay. I think I mentioned earlier on the podcast, but again, probably worth it because I think his team's a lot stronger this year because of it. I mean, he upgraded QB, wide receiver, and got a tight end. So, yeah, it's a solid move.
Yeah, I think it was a fine value trade. Happy that Levis and Tannehill are now in the division here.
I'm so happy that they're in the division. You mean, terrified, right?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Next deal, Chiefs and Saints. Chiefs giving up Kirby Joseph for the Saints 25 third. Saints then also flipping Adam Troutman, Cam Thomas, Luke Masterson, and Trey Herndon to the Panthers for Sermon, Cole Beasley, Marlon Humphrey, and Richie Grant. I don't get it.
Well, from whose side?
I'd rather have the items that the Saints gave up than the Panthers.
Yep.
Okay, so that's why I don't get it.
Yep. Oh, yep. I'd rather have just the tight end over everyone else, even if I wasn't looking at. I don't care.
I've been trying to get
that deal.
Troutman. Yeah, agreed.
All right. Then, I pull a 180 on everybody. Zig while everyone else thinks I'm going to zag and trade a Miami linebacker, Bradley Chubb, for Elijah Dotson, Dennis Gardeck, and the Panthers 24 second.
It looks great as you start a rebuild, after today. But that I don't know. I guess the second for Chubb felt good, and then I don't know what to make of Dotson really, but everything else is just filler.
I mean, basically, Dotson is, a preseason little darling. We'll see if he actually makes it past 1 or 2 games. But then, yes, I continue my teardown with Yannick going to the Chiefs for Brandon Graham and the Saints 25 third. The one he just picked up for Kirby Joseph gets flipped to me for Yannick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the fun begins. So this is again the beginning of the last 24 hours. So Kirk Cousins, Roshan Johnson, Nolan Smith, Jerome Baker, and Derwin James for Justin Herbert, Zeke Elliott, Baron Browning, James Houston, and John Johnson.
Why did Colts give you Justin Herbert for nothing?
That's huh?
That's a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the only value there, in my opinion, like comparative to Justin Herbert, like on his own, would be like Kirk Cousins and Nolan Smith, right?
No.
Like
Roshan's a first, Smith's a first, Jerome's a second, Derwin's an easy second.
Not an easy second.
It's an easy second when you haven't been trying to trade him.
like it's one of those things where it's like he got equivalent value replacement for cheaper, and he got Justin Herbert out of it. Like, I don't know. I love Derwin as much as the next guy, but like John Johnson's going to be just fine in LA. Zeke is going to do probably the exact same thing that Roshan does. Baron Browning is a DN next year, and James Houston is like the question mark of all of it. But I don't know. It just feels like a very light return for Justin Herbert.
I think I would have liked to.
Bill. No. Let me talk.
Yes,
we just thank you. We just talked about how he has to break down and get more depth from his star pieces, and this is exactly what he's done and got a lot of value out of it. Like, he got younger. Like you say, Zeke's going to do the same thing. Zeke will not have any value after this year.
Right.
Comparatively, Roshan's going to keep it, right? Like, Nolan Smith is a brand new player on his rookie contract. Baker's not that old. Derwin's going to last. Like, sure, you could get more for Herbert in a perfect world, but
right.
I think for him not having his own picks, needing to break down a star player, but maintain production so his pick doesn't go up in value with somebody else holding it, like, I think it's a good deal.
I think I would have liked
Nolan
him to add another offensive piece, and it's like he's got like 3 defensive pieces, and then Roshan, who's just the handcuff to Khalil Herbert on his side. Like, it would have been a bit better if he could have squeezed a wide receiver or a different kind of running back out of it. But I agree. I think it's a good breakdown. The Cousin, like in a year and a half, or like even this offseason, if Cousins doesn't have a market, that's going to look a little bad. But if Cousins sticks around in Minnesota another year, or he lands somewhere else, maybe he's got a couple more years in him, but we'll see.
I think he's got at least 2 years of real NFL playing left.
His contract.
Yep.
Like,
and if he does that, he's served his purpose, right? Like, he's kept Colts out of being a bottom dweller until he owns his picks again.
This is his last year with Minnesota, at least his contract ends.
Yes.
They haven't talked about extension on like the previous couple of seasons. So like, there is a risk where he retires at the end of this year or just can't find a job. It's unlikely, since he's been a competitive quarterback who can get you to the playoffs and then throw it away, but we'll see.
All right. Next, we have the Chiefs backing up with the poo-poo platter for Jeff Wilson. Tanner McKee, Jimmy Graham, Saints, the Tampa's 4th in 24, and Colts 3rd in 25. So somebody's mic just gave a little feedback. So I guess 2/3 of 4th, and Tanner McKee and Jimmy Graham for a potential starting running back. So Yeah, you know what? Good for him.
Yeah. It sounds like Tanner McKee is going to win the backup job over Mariota, which is fine. And Jimmy Graham is apparently crazy. So I
So
don't.
actually, a friend of mine is a clinical is as a doctor. Indicated that post seizure, someone could have actually reacted like Jimmy Graham did. So it's very possible he had a seizure and just was misdiagnosed by the police. And
Interesting. But yeah, I think generally, like Jeff Wilson for the picks alone is fine return.
Agree.
Yep.
Although that's kind of cheap, Jeff Wilson.
All right, then we've got a nice little multi-piece swap between the Broncos and Bears. Cedric Wilson, Henry Anderson, Juwan Bentley, and Texans third for Marquez Callaway, Jadeveon Clowney, Jermaine Pratt.
Ew.
I like this for you, Bill. Like, there's no
I like it a
flashy
lot for
piece
him,
in
yeah.
there, but I like it. You're filling in the corners of your team with.
Yeah, I mean Pratt's a slight downgrade to Bentley, but I mean, I'll take Clowney over Henry Anderson, and I'll take Callaway over Cedric Wilson.
I think you
Yeah,
take
okay.
Clowney and Pratt over both of them. Yeah, I think I like this for you.
I just like the Pratt part.
Yeah.
Pratt's the best part of this,
Yep.
in my opinion. So, like, whoever gets that.
Sure, it is
A lot of it
interesting.
is his contract, 4 year, $5 million.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
He may not be a Bengal for the whole time, but he'll still be productive.
He may not be a Bengal after this year, right?
That's still, yeah, I just like the player. Like, I
Yeah.
think he's the
I agree.
best long-term asset. All right.
All right, and then the big one that just went down before the pod, Justin Herbert stays on the move, now moving to Seattle with John Johnson, the 49ers first next year, the Cowboys second next year, Panthers second next year, and the Chargers third next year for Anthony Richardson, Al-Qadim Muhammad, Jordan Poyer, my first and my second next year. Don't read too much into this. I wanted my picks back. I like to make a lot of trades. Everyone kind of knows that. The fact that I had to keep weighing every trade for, I have to stay somewhat competitive because I don't hit my first. It's just been exhausting and annoying. So, yes, I definitely probably gave up a lot more than I got back in this, but I get the flexibility to actually manage my team how I want to manage my team, which is worth the price of admission for me. So, I also really like Anthony Richardson, so I'll take that. But, we all know who got more in this deal.
This is going to be an underpay next year when Anthony Richardson blows up. But this is also just like further proof that if you give your pick to Seahawks, you're not going to get it back unless you do this. Like, like the guy's just going to hoard it because as soon as you ask for it back, he's going to know that you're going to try to tank or do whatever or he's going to think you're going to tank, and he's going to charge you 3 times the value.
I love this for Seahawks.
I like this for both teams.
Okay, for anyone listening, Mike paid to get Richardson, and he's the one sending Justin Herbert. Like,
Right. Right.
this is not good value. I just want to be clear. Like, and Mike said, it's not good value. Like, but I get why Mike did it. I just don't want people watching to be like, "Oh, this is great," and then go do the same thing. And
I'm going to trade
how
all
much
my
did he
rookie
overpay?
quarterbacks for
This
so
is-
much.
Let's quantify this. How much did he overpay? Because I don't
He
think overpaid that much.
he
Well, 2 first minimum.
2 firsts he
What?
overpaid by. Yeah, I would.
Just
There's
Herbert.
no world in which I pay this much for Anthony Richardson ever.
So-
30
Especially in a league this size, where if your
Okay, so-
quarterback
so
doesn't, where if
let's-
your quarterback doesn't pan out, you are doomed.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's even
Like-
break it down further. What is the 102 versus Justin Herbert?
It's a Bijan-sized canyon. Can we say that?
I don't know. What do you think of Bijan?
So I don't know. Like Herbert's worth what, 3 firsts, something like that. Richardson's worth 1 or 2 right now. You just keep that for right now. Again, like everybody has their opinion and everybody has their like projections, but Justin's proven. Anthony isn't.
Yeah, let's
Didn't
just
Chris
keep it
just
simple.
trade Herbert for 101,
Yeah, he traded Herbert for 101 plus something.
and Richardson, in my opinion, should have been 102, or was 102.
He was 102. Yeah.
Right. So again, I think a first and a second or 2 seconds, I would agree. I don't know if it's 2 firsts, but yeah,
It's 2 picks.
It was-
one way or
it was a pretty good size overpay.
But you know what? I like watching Mike work. So I'm happy that he gets this flexibility back.
I mean, if we're thinking the 49ers first is the overpay here, and that's now potentially a playoff first, that's the equivalent of like a Luke Musgrave
Yeah.
or a Lucas Van Ness. Like that's not like a
I mean,
huge.
I kind of just think that Justin Herbert is the overpay here. But I get it. This is fun. I like Mike's moves more often than not.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
just
it just
excited
makes
to
it fun
see
too
what's
because
next.
I also do have. I just did trade future Hall of Famer Aiden O'Connell for Gardner Minshew just in time for Anthony Richardson to be named the starter. So you know what, shit happens, but I'll double down on the Colts.
There you go.
Had no choice but to move out for Herbert after that.
Yeah, clearly. All right. So now that I have my pick back, expect a lot more trades. You're all in big trouble.
Content, baby.
That's what we do. It's for the pod. So, anyways, there's 7 of us on here. Let's make some magic happen. But for those who tuned in, much appreciated, and we'll talk to you guys later on.